The SEC approving 11 Bitcoin ETFs in the US was a historical day for all crypto enthusiasts. But what does that mean for the Bitcoin price now? Will Bitcoin reach new heights now and go to the moon? Or is this a sell the news type of thing and you would make a big mistake buying Bitcoin now? Let's find out together in this PerFinEx video. Not sure how involved you guys are in the crypto scene, so let's bring everyone on board. There's one well-known fact that could bring Bitcoin to the moon this year, but there's also a lesser-known fact happening in just a couple of months. The first historic event of 2024 is that the first Bitcoin ETFs have been approved, more than 10 years after the first application in July 2013. Talking about bureaucracy, huh? And after the Twitter account from the US Securities and Exchange Commission was hacked on January 9th, and the hacker made a fake tweet that the Bitcoin ETF was approved, the real SEC approved 11 Bitcoin ETFs one day later. What a show that was. This is the first big news that made the Bitcoin price shoot up, even though it's not really news, is it? This is more than a decade in the making and was about to happen sooner or later. The second big news, though, is far less known and may rise to fame in a couple of months from now. How are Bitcoin created? By processing and verifying transactions. Bitcoin miners get paid in Bitcoin. Until 2012, that reward was 50 Bitcoin for every block, then 25 until 2016, then 12.5 until 2020, and now in 2024, the next halving will happen from 6.25 to 3.125 Bitcoin. And historically speaking, the weeks and months after the halving were pretty good, always leading to new all-time highs. Historically speaking. Keep in mind, the past performance is no guarantee for future results. Those are the two historic events in 2024 that led Bitcoin enthusiasts to say that Bitcoin will go to the moon. Cathie Wood, one of the most prominent investors in the world right now, predicts that Bitcoin will go to 1.5 million in the next 6 years. That will be a pretty tremendous return from about $40,000 right now. I wonder why she has such a high Bitcoin price prediction. Is it maybe because her ARK fund, which lost 70% since its all-time high, that invests in Bitcoin? Or is it because she has 25% of her personal net worth invested in Bitcoin, which is a casual $70 million, by the way? I wonder. The fact that I don't have 70 million invested in Bitcoin allows me to take a step back and look with a clear head what 2024 could mean for Bitcoin. Let's not cloud our judgment because we may be invested in Bitcoin or not. And in case any of you is asking if I hodl Bitcoin or not, I have invested around 500 euro of my money in Bitcoin just to get a feel for it. If Cathie Wood is right and Bitcoin shoots to the moon, okay. If Bitcoin goes to zero, okay. No scenario is going to change my life significantly, so I can look with a clear mind at what's happening here. If you ask me, the Bitcoin ETFs and the reward halving are already reflected in the Bitcoin price. These are public events that everyone can Google themselves, so they are priced in already. If you want to trade on these news, then you're too late, my friend. The question right now is, what's going to happen in the future? What do Bitcoin ETFs mean for the Bitcoin price? And should you buy one of these Bitcoin ETFs? Which you can, by the way, if you're watching from Europe. But we'll come to that later on. The first big argument from crypto enthusiasts is that the Bitcoin ETFs will make it a lot easier to invest in Bitcoin than right now. And that's kind of true. Because so far, only the direct investment was possible. So you would have to buy your Bitcoin from an exchange, regulated or not, and then store your Bitcoin in a wallet, a hot or cold wallet. All of this is a lot more difficult than downloading any of these investment apps and buying a stock or an ETF. So the Bitcoin ETFs should give more people access to investing in Bitcoin, especially institutional investors, the guys with the big pockets, you know. They were maybe allowed to invest in certain Bitcoin certificates or futures that were regulated even before the Bitcoin ETFs, but now they have a way better investment without any counterparty risk. That's without a doubt the positive part of the regulation that helps Bitcoin and other cryptos to mature and become more interesting for conservative investors. And we have the same here in Europe with the major regulation since June last year, the MiCA, the Markets in Crypto Asset Regulation. Some might argue that the regulation betrays the initial idea that Bitcoin was founded on. Okay, that's certainly an argument one could make. But if the crypto space wants to mature, the only way is towards regulation and not away from it. If governments have no control over crypto and people can use it anonymously to launder money or fund their illegal activities, it's never gonna be accepted. Just my humble opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. The negative part of the regulation may be that there will never be a Bitcoin ETF here in the EU. You heard me right. All the buzz is just for people in the US. Here in the EU, as long as the directive for undertakings for collective investment in transferable securities is active, a Bitcoin ETF is impossible. You may know this directive from the UCITS that is in the name of many ETFs, and the 5-10-40 rule in UCITS prohibits a Bitcoin ETF. Why? Only 10% of funds can be invested in a single investment, and all investments larger than 5% cannot be more than 40% of the total portfolio. So a crypto ETF would be possible. A Bitcoin ETF is not. The workaround is an ETN, exchange traded note, or ETC, exchange traded commodity, that would be possible here in the EU. That would be very similar to our real estate security tokens that allow you to invest in real estate with just €1. Check out our website, germanreal.estate, if you're interested in that. Now I know some of you will be highly disappointed that you cannot invest in the Bitcoin ETFs from the EU, and you will try to circumvent the rules, which is possible, of course. We're not going to tell you how to do it, but it's possible if you really want to do it. The thing is just that it's not meant to be. And at least here in Germany, this will be an absolute tax nightmare to maintain an investment account in the US. But you do you. Speaking about taxes, ETFs are taxed with 25% capital gains tax here in Germany, always and every time. Even without you making a real profit, because the preliminary investment tax, die Vorabpauschale in German, is back. Now 25% capital gains tax is a lot better than up to 42% you pay for employment income, but also a lot worse than investing in Bitcoin directly. If you buy a Bitcoin today, or a fraction of it, because one Bitcoin is pretty expensive, and you sell it within 1 year, you also have to pay 42% income tax. But if you hodl your Bitcoin, or any other crypto for that matter, for at least 1 year, all profits will be completely tax-free, exactly like with gold or any other special asset investment. Isn't that awesome? So you may be sad that the Bitcoin ETF cannot exist here in the EU, but at least here in Germany, you would be better off investing in Bitcoin directly than buying a Bitcoin ETF anyway. At least if you hodl for at least a year. And this brings me to my personal conclusion about the Bitcoin ETFs. There's a lot of buzz in the media right now, hyping Bitcoin investments. And if you're a regular viewer of our channel, you know how much that I like the media and the clickbaity that they post on a regular basis. One day they'll tell you to buy something, and the next day they tell you to sell it, whatever brings the most clicks. So, with a clear head, should you buy one of the Bitcoin ETFs now? Certainly not, while they're only available in the US. Let's wait what the EU options will be, probably in the near future. We'll keep you updated here on the channel. If that's not an awesome opportunity to subscribe right now, I don't know what is. Once we know what the options for us in the EU are, we can make a decision if we should buy the Bitcoin ETN, ETC, or whatever it will be. Overall, I think this is a positive for the crypto space, as this is the next chapter in the process of maturing into a real investment. But let me know what you think in the comments below.